Hey everybody, Dan and Dave here today. We are talking slips and falls, this time as it pertains to feeder drivers. So Dan, we're going to talk about, there's three main things where feeder drivers, when it comes to the tractor and trailer, that they actually are going to use it most of the time. Getting up and down out of the tractor, up and down on the catwalk,
right.
Putting your hoses in your electrical cord, and then the back of the trailer actually, where you're going to pull down the trailer or lift the trailer door up.
Right.
But before we get into all of that, I think we first need to define what slips and falls really is. Because you can actually have a slip but not a fall.
Right.
But that doesn't mean you're not going to get injured.
Right.
Slips can actually do that. So let's just define what they are. I put them in three categories of slips, trips, and slides.
Yep.
Right? So slips to me is you're basically losing traction with the bottom of your shoe to the surface that you're at. The one bad thing about slips is when you do lose that traction, you typically go backwards.
Right.
Which could potentially mean you're not being able to catch yourself going backwards, and it could mean head injury.
Right, absolutely.
Flipping that head back on it.
Right.
So now we're going to go to trips.
A trip is basically a fall in any direction. It can be unexpected. It could be from debris on the ground. It could be from a crack, a pothole, but it's unexpected. And basically, the way to avoid it is to make sure you're always scanning your area and always looking before stepping.
Right. You can fall in any direction with a trip because it is unexpected.
Right.
So let's go to the slide. The slide is basically you losing your body weight. You're overextending. Your body weight gets out from underneath you, and you can fall in any direction with a slide, but mainly slides are because of weather conditions.
Right.
Rain, winter, snow, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Correct?
That's right. Yeah, and with a slide, you don't always have to fall down when you slide, and you can get injured based on having a strain, a sprain, different things like that.
Yeah, it's actually the one that causes the most strains and
Right.
sprains out of all three of them.
Right.
Okay, so now that we've defined what the slips and falls actually is, let's take that to what the feeder drivers actually do. It's the getting in and out of the tractor.
Right. Yeah, it's the 3 points of contact that we talk about all the time. Getting in and out of the tractor slow. We say 3 points of contact. Think 3 points, sometimes 4. We're getting in and out very slow. It's not a race.
Because actually, as we've talked before, weather conditions actually affect this. You don't want to speed this up at all. Snow can get on the steps.
Right.
Rain, makes things slick, the whole bit. All these conditions affect the way we're doing it.
Right.
So let's go to the second one. The second one is actually getting up and down on the catwalk.
Right.
Not all of us actually have to do that, but some of us still have to, and it's the same procedure.
Same process. Use proper 3 points of contact to get up on the catwalk. Get all the way on the catwalk when you're up there, and make sure you're keeping the hoses on the left side of your body. We don't want to have to step over anything that causes a tripping hazard. You try to step over the hoses when you're on the catwalk and you trip, it's a long way to fall, and you're probably going to fall on your head.
Well, especially if we're in winter.
Absolutely.
In the middle of spring, it's raining, they're slick. That is all metal. Anytime that gets wet, the traction is not going to be as good with your feet.
That's right.
Okay, so from that, now let's go back to the back of the trailer.
All right.
Okay, so here we are at the third main point that a feeder driver has to deal with, according to what we talk about, slips and falls, is the back of the trailer.
Right.
We know, Dan, as well, that a lot of these trailer doors, they're left open. Some of the straps are actually cut. And, what are the things that you're looking at to try to get up and down out of that trailer, safely?
Yeah, I know that there's no good way to get in and out of the back of a trailer without a load stand. I know that step, it's tempting to take a shortcut and to step on the step and walk into the back of the trailer without a load stand. But the steps, depending on the weather condition, really any time of the year, that step can be slick. It can be very easy to fall. There's just no good way to get up into the back of the trailer using 3 points of contact without a load stand.
Right. I mean, that strap is not a handrail.
Absolutely not.
That is not there for you to grab onto and use it as a handrail. These steps here, they can, same thing. When it's raining, they're going to be very slick. When
Right.
there's snow, that tends to build up behind your trailer anyways.
Right.
They're going to be slick.
Right.
The only way to get in and out of these trailers is actually with a load stand, as Peyton has done.
That's right. Yeah, just everybody needs to always remember, a lot of times we're on these lots, it's late at night, we're by ourselves. You can't afford to fall out of the back of a trailer. You know, if you're relying on that strap to hold your weight when you're leaning backwards to shut that trailer door, if that strap gives way and you fall back and hit your head, it could be hours before somebody comes and finds you. So always be safe, always get a load stand to shut your trailer door.
Yeah, if it knocks you unconscious, it ain't like you can call an ambulance.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Okay, so let's move on to a couple other areas that we want to look at that really is basically the only other things that feeder drivers will have to deal with as far as slips and falls.
Okay.
Okay, Dan, so we're here at one of the main points that every feeder driver deals with is at the fuel islands.
Right.
You know, so typically at the fuel islands, I mean, this is the end of your day. We're tired, we're getting out. Are we actually looking around at what the trip and slip and fall areas actually are?
Right, we should be, because there's definitely, you know, at least two trip and fall hazards right here that are easily to see. You know, you've got hoses that are sticking out. If you're not looking before stepping when you're getting out of the tractor, it's very easy to get tangled up into that.
Tangled up, roll an ankle,
Right.
slip off the edge of it, or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
So what's the other one?
Yeah, the other one is, you know, obviously right here we've got two different spots where there has been some fuel that has dripped on the ground, you know, over, you know, previous people fueling.
Right.
Okay. Anytime some rain hits that, it's just going to be like ice out here. Fuel and water don't mix. It's like oil and water. And you get a little bit of water on that, and your foot's going to slide.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter how much tread you have on those shoes.
Right.
Because it is just like stepping on ice when it gets mixed with water.
Absolutely. Right.
All right, so let's go on to the one last place that we feel like might affect the drivers on slips and falls actually while they're hooking up. All right, Dan, so here we are. This is, to me, one of the last things that feeder drivers actually have to deal with day in and day out while they're hooking up on the door, whether it be their back box or their front box, is, you know, these buildings, a lot of them, you know, wind tends to swirl around, and the trash ends up getting in between the trailers, and the drivers are the ones who have to deal with it.
Right. You know, and when you know trash is back there, you're always, like we said before, you're scanning your area, you're looking before you're stepping. You know, you see hub snakes in your way, you know, pick them up and tie them up. You know, we don't want to leave it for the next driver, but you always got to be scanning your walk path and making sure that you're not going to trip and fall or slip on something in between the trailers.
Absolutely. You know, so, and, you know, these are the types of falls, especially in our building, that have typically caused the most problems, correct?
Right. Yeah. When you fall here, you know, we think of a fall like, you know, you fall, it's no big deal. But historically here in our building, the people that have fallen, it's caused significant damage and a lot of time lost in work.
Yeah, because, you know, actually, from what we actually see, injuries only affect that person.
That's right.
It's not affecting anybody else. It's affecting that person, and whatever they do outside of here, it affects them with that as well.
That's right. You know, you get injured, it's most of the time, if you have to have a surgery, any type of procedure, therapy, you're never going to be exactly 100% the same, you know, and
Right.
you just need to make sure that we're always doing what we can to avoid the injuries as much as we can, help it.
Absolutely. That slips and falls as it pertains to feeder drivers, everybody. Be safe out there.